Hello and welcome back to my series in Factorio, in which I'm attempting to build my very first MegaFactory. My name is Azrael. Come along with me as we continue our adventure. Alright, we're trying to get our oil production back up to a sustainable level. And in the previous episode we set up a new oil train that delivers from a new oil field and all of that good stuff. And one of the first times that I've really relied on barreling for my oil. Usually I've just built up a pipeline like you've seen me do in previous episodes, but building a pipeline from as far away as that oil field is just not very practical. So we decided to do barreling, which means that the flow is not 100% steady, but it gets the job done. And so it's working out pretty well for us. I'm going to put some of my alien artifacts into the science system, upgrade the purple science to a level 3 assembler. And we're waiting for level 3 efficiency modules so that I can finally produce the Mk2 Power Armor, which should be coming along later on in today's episode. I'm checking out the plastic production over here in my circuit factory. It's still not getting me very much stuff. So instead, what I'm going to do is increase my oil refinery output by putting up 2 new oil refineries. The first thing I have to do is get rid of this oil, not oil, that's water line that's feeding my cracking plants. I just need to get it out of my way, and then move some of these power poles around so that they're not in the way. Alright, there we go. And now it's just a matter of getting everything hooked up. So bring in the oil lines and the water lines, advanced oil processing, and then get the outflow pipes connected to the existing system. And that should do it right there. Now there's 7 total oil refineries active, and they are constantly active, which means that the oil is flowing at a decent rate. So it shouldn't be too big of a deal. But my plastic production is still kind of falling behind. So I'm going to have to try to figure out ways to bolster the production there of the petroleum gas that comes out of those. But in the meantime, I have also noticed that one of my copper mines is now completely barren. Here it is right here. There's absolutely nothing left over here, so it's time to deconstruct this area. Just plunge the whole facility into the dark. And watching as the trains go by on the other side there. The train that services this facility is right there, and it's still going, even though it's not carrying anything except for the few little scraps that I managed to pick up while I was deconstructing the whole area. I need to make a little bit more room in my inventory to get all this down, and then it all works out alright. I want to make sure that my defenses are still running, as well as the stone mining drills. And as also some of these turrets have been working overtime, repelling a nearby alien hive. I'm going to shut that train down for the moment, because I could probably repurpose it as a stone train once I figure out where to actually drop off stone to have it join up with the master bus. But in the meantime, I'm just going to take care of this alien nest, because they keep moving into this area, and it's just too close for comfort. Eventually I will, of course, be extending the defensive perimeter around here, so it won't be as big of an issue. Oh, you can see some remains from a previous nest right there. Apparently I just never picked them up. There's some oil pockets right there as well, so I might want to plop down a few pump jacks and help bring that system up. Right now, this is the only copper mine that's actually functioning at the moment. And as you can see, it's only got maybe 24, I think, 24 mining drills in operation, which is going to be starving the factory quite a bit. So I'm going to add in a few more here. And there's some attacks going on in the north. I'll have to do something about those bases as time goes on. But right now, we need to get more copper being delivered into the factory. So this is what I'm going to focus on. I'm just going to increase the production down here, get a little bit of research done. We are so close to finishing out the research tree. I think there are only 4 technologies left that we need to do, 17, 18, 19, and 20, for the follower robot count, and then we'll be complete, at least until the newer updates come out, and they might potentially add more research into the mix. But we'll take that when the time actually comes. I'm sure that this factory will still be around by the time that actually happens, but I'd like to get what we have available done before then, so that I don't have to worry about completely tearing down and rebuilding my my research facility, because the 0.15 is promising some pretty massive changes to research. I've talked about that in a previous episode, so I won't go into a whole lot of detail right now. But just, you know, suffice it to say that most of the recipes are being changed, so I'll have to make some major alterations to the way it is laid out up there. Anyway, now that I got that mostly figured out, I'm going to go ahead and check out my oil. I decided I'm going to put some speed modules in those refineries and see that my oil reserves are building up, so we could probably increase that just a tiny bit. I just need one more efficiency module level 3 to create my Mk2 Power Armor. I'm going to put some more of the alien artifacts in here, because once again this thing is dried up. This is probably going to be the major bottleneck to the system going into the future, so we're going to need to be focusing a bit on combat and taking out some of these biter nests so that I can farm a few more of those alien artifacts. So, and I noticed that this base over here moved in rather close to where my one of my oil fields is located, so it's just, again, too close for comfort. And there's quite a few of these guys around the area, so it's not exactly like I'm wanting for potential areas there. As you can see, my power is flickering quite heinously here, so the big priority for me right now is to get more power production as well. So I'm going to switch over focus just a little bit and pick up some more solar panels and accumulators and go build up another field. Now the field that I had over in the east, just where my old iron mine used to be, the space over there is a little bit more limited than I realized, so I'm probably not going to be focusing on that as much. I'm going to actually figure out a new place to put my my solar fields. And in order to do that, I need power substations, and which require advanced circuits, and there's a whole bunch of them sitting right here on the master bus not doing anything. So I'm just going to try to pick up as much of these as I can, which is almost all of them. I think I left like 4 of them on that belt. And I'm also going to dump some of them over here into my efficiency module rack facility, so that we can get that done out of the way as well. And then I'm going to inject most of these right back into the system so that they can actually be used. Alright, the oil is starting to dwindle just a little bit now that I added those speed modules, but we'll worry about that probably in the next episode here. In the meantime, I decided I'm just going to extend the solar field out of the area that I've already got it over here. I'm just going to put another square over here, and I don't quite have enough room to do 5 blueprint off to the side there, so I'm just going to go ahead and do 4 and then worry about moving the wall out a little bit later on. In the meantime, I just need power, so I'm going to put down as many of these as I can over here. And this is so much easier now with the construction robots. It's not even comparable anymore. The way I was doing it by hand before. Of course, I did give them quite a few instructions to do all at the same time, so that they take a little while getting it all fixed up. But there's 20 more blueprints placed down, and figure I might as well just go ahead and keep going down here. I have room for several more. And I realize here that once again, I'm one tile short of the pattern I wanted to keep up. That OCD in me is like wanting to make sure everything is exactly certain widths. But sadly, that I don't want to go back and pick it all up again and move it by one tile. I've done that in the past. You remember in the episode where I was running the railroad blueprints right down the center. I don't want to do that again. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. That's in addition to the 20 that I did up here. That was I believe 4 or 5 down there. Ooh, some stone. Alright, and it looks like plastic production is no longer the bottlenecking factor in my advanced circuit production, and I finally have enough efficiency module level 3s to build my power armor. And they're just finished, and I'm going to put it to the test by taking out this biter nest over here. Of course, I have to take all the equipment out of my old power armor, and then while I'm setting up the new power armor, the biters notice me over here and decide to come and say hello. But that wasn't too much of a problem. Alright, and now while I'm over here, I'm going to be considering how to build up more power armor peripherals, such as maybe a second power plant, and eventually some exoskeleton legs. But right now I don't have the items in my inventory to be taking care of that yet, so we'll just make do with what we've got now. And it proves to be more than adequate for the task at hand. I mean, the Mark I power armor was just fine, but you know, if you have the ability to build it, why not? And you're going to need it eventually, especially in the future when behemoth biters start showing up, which should be just about any day now, especially with all of the spawners that I've been destroying. I'm honestly surprised that they're not here yet. But anyway, just taking out a few more of these bases in the northern region. They've been attacking my walls for far too long and weakening my defenses. So it's time to drive them out. And I don't even know why I run back behind my turrets. It's not like I need to do that. I can take care of these things just fine on my own. But it's the mentality that, you know, it's there, I might as well use it. Ooh, some stone. Alright. Yeah, another couple of bases over here. Take care of the worms that are popping up. Those are always the biggest concern, is those worms, especially the big worms. They just... Ooh, some stone. Ooh, some stone. Alright, now I'm going to go take care of a few other things. In the meantime, though, I realized that I only really need level 2 efficiency modules in most of my buildings, because 3 of them is apparently overkill. They can only take advantage of up to an 80% boost in efficiency, and 2 level 3 modules would hypothetically lead to a 100% efficiency. So you've got 20% of that just kind of going to waste. So you put 2 level 2 efficiencies and you get that magic 80% instead. And look at me go, I've got those exoskeleton legs in there now. As well as I believe I put a second power source in there as well, just to keep it going. Alright, now I'm going to go head over here to my advanced circuits and upgrade everything to a level 3 assembler. And, alright, that should do it. That should at least help. I briefly consider upgrading all of my electronic circuits up to level 3, But right now, they're not a major bottleneck for anything else, so I'm not going to be too concerned with it. It's primarily the advanced circuits that are the biggest problem at the moment. No matter what I do, they're still just trickling along, as you can see. There's nowhere near a full 4 belts of fully saturated stuff. Alright, at the moment I'm just sort of checking everything out, making sure everything is running the way it needs to. And yeah, the oil over here. I'm also trying to figure out where to put a stone drop-off point along here. I need to know where to put that. I might as well get this locomotive colored properly to be an iron train. I always try to make them kind of a slightly bluish gray, you know, the color of the iron plates. And there's some more attacks down here in the southwest area. So in the meantime, while I consider where to put the stone trains, I'm just going to go ahead and take care of this little problem as well. And while I'm over here, there's a raiding party coming up behind me. But it's a good thing I had those 2 turrets behind me as well. It just sort of made short work of that. But in the meantime, yeah, I'm just going to clear out this base here, because it was getting a little too large for my taste. So wanted to take care of that before it got completely out of hand. And there's another large-ish base over here. They almost take out one of my turrets because I didn't get it set up in time. But my construction bots were working constantly to make sure that remained operational. So, alright, no losses incurred on my end. Now, I was thinking about maybe using my construction bots to pick up all the alien artifacts, but it was some stone. It didn't end up being much faster than the way I normally do it, by just running over them and picking them up. So we're not going to worry too much about that. There's a couple more bases over here that I wanted to take out and get rid of these guys over here. There's a couple of worms up there. Alright, but it's actually a rather small thing. Here comes another raiding party. Grab their attention and bring them over to my wall of death. So, you take care of that. Ooh, some stone. Alright, and there's the party where they originated from was down here. There's quite a few worms over there, so I need to take it a little more carefully. They actually got past my shields and started, you know, hurting the me underneath. Take care of a few more of those guys. And then, of course, this base down here. And I keep forgetting, now that I have all these exoskeleton legs in my power armor, I can actually just outrun the biters and lead them on a merry chase. And then eventually into my wall of death. Alright, there are other bases over here, but I'm not too concerned about them at the moment. So I just head back into the base. And I'm going to head over here and check out my science. But once again, it's used up all of those alien artifacts. I pick up some of my level 2 efficiency modules. I've got a pretty sizable stack of them in there now. I'm going to bolster the production of those with some speed modules, however, just to make sure that the whole thing is running absolutely as fast as it can. Even though that is a bit of a drain on the power network. And I'm going to start putting these efficiency modules into my furnaces, because they are, by and large, the biggest drain on the power network. Ooh, some stone. Alright, let's see, what else do I need to take care of, really? It's getting a little late in the episode, so I'm not sure entirely what I wanted to take on. But I do feel that it is time to rebuild a turret factory up here, so I'm going to add that to my military facility. I'm going to have 2 assembly machines crafting those, and in order to do that, they each need their own dedicated gear production. So I'm going to need iron and copper plates heading up the center, and then the iron plates need to reach both of the gear production. And then I'm trying to figure out how to make the iron and copper plates reach both sides without having to use any long-armed inserters. So I was playing around with a few concepts here, but then I realized it's just not really working too well. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and set it up, you know, in a normal way, including the long-armed inserters. So it just keeps everything nice and simple that way. Alright, I just need to bring the resources off of the main bus, which isn't too difficult. And there they go. Now it just needs power, and there it goes. Alright, that ought to help things along quite nicely. Now I'm going to go get all of the actual gun turrets out of my storage area, which really wasn't that many. I think there was only like a stack of 8. But every little bit counts, and put those in the box and mark it down. And that is all the time we have in today's episode. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Azrael. Never stop building.